Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. A beautiful day here in the bonsai zone. I'm going to start today by pruning up my Norway Maple. I pruned it midsummer last year, kind of pruning it back, hoping it would flush out again, and it didn't. The buds just stayed dormant, and they're still on the tree, still dormant. So it flushed out with new growth. So it's earlier in the year now. I'm going to prune it back and see what happens. My Norway Maple is nice and healthy, good strong growth this spring. So I'm going to cut back all these long shoots and do a bit of branch selection. So here I go, I'll start on this one, and I'm going to try and leave leaves on each shoot. So just pruning back to the first set of leaves. So here I go. There's cut number one. And then I've got a big strong leader here, and I have a branch here that's formed and a bud on this side. So I'm going to, I don't want to prune it back here, it's too tall. So I'm going to do a fairly hard prune here, back to here. Here I go. Taking that branch off. And then I'm looking for other vigorous branches. There's some strong ones out the back here. My first set of leaves is here, so I'll prune the tip off. This one also, here's my first set of leaves, so I'll prune just after that. I've got strong growth up the middle here. I can prune back to the first set of leaves again. And then I've got one more branch here that's really strong. I'll prune the tip off that one. Look at the size of the leaves on it. Wow. So that's got all the major growth extensions pruned off. So next I'll come in and look at the structure of the tree and see if I can do any corrective pruning with the branches. I'm having a look at the tree now. So there are, there's a new shoot in here. There's an old branch I can remove here. Just a stub. There's a small branch coming off here. I can prune back again to the first set of leaves. Pruning it back. There's a bud on this branch, and it's the only bud that looks viable, and it's getting shaded out by this leaf here, so I'm going to prune that leaf away so that bud gets light. And I think there's a branch, or not a branch, a leaf crossing across here. I'm going to remove that just to thin it out a bit so all these buds on the interior here get light and they'll grow then. So here's those dormant buds that never popped out from last year, and they look like they're still alive, but I don't know, not much happened. There's another crossing leaf here I can take out, opening up the structure, another one here. So a lot of these branches will just have the one leaf on them. Here's another one crossing across the interior of the tree. And another one here that I can prune away. Opening it up so this part of the tree gets light. There's a branch here. This is one of the ones I pruned last summer and it never came out. It's crossing across the center of the tree, so I'm going to remove that one. Not sure where that went, but there's another one here. It's kind of crowded in this section, so I'm going to take this one out, leaving the smaller one there. Again, opening up the tree, getting the branches to fan outwards. There's a branch here I can prune back, a smaller one. That should get me some subdividing, a little more ramification. I'll take off this vertical leaf here, just again to open it up so more light gets into the interior of the tree. And I think, well, I could take this leaf off. That really opens the tree up. I guess I could take this leaf off also. Yeah, that really opens it up now. And there's a leaf here that's shading out some of those buds that are dormant in here. I'll get rid of those too. Leaving basically one leaf on each branch. like that. Now there is some cleanup work I can do here. There's a stub here that's died back, so I could prune that away. It is totally dead. You can tell by the color of it, and it's dry looking. So that's gone. There's a stub in the middle here I can remove. Like that. I don't think this upper part is alive. It doesn't look good. Like you can see the bud still has some color, but it's not looking good. I'll leave it on for now, just in case it develops in the future. There's a stub here I can remove. And I think that's about it. I'll show you a close-up of the trunk, which is looking quite nice on the tree. Here's a look at the trunk and the root base on the tree. So it's getting quite mature looking. This tree was grown from a seed in the front garden. I've been working on the roots for many years, trying to develop the structure of the tree and not being so successful so far, but I will keep trying to develop this tree. I had a lot of dieback on it. You can see in here there's a deadwood section that I covered with rubber cement, and it seems to preserve the deadwood really nicely. There's no rot at all on that section of the tree, and you can see it healing over. So that's quite nice. Yeah, it's a tree in progress or in development, and I'll see if I can keep improving it in the future. So that's my Norway maple pruned up, ready to grow for the summer. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So here's the front, the right hand side, the back, the left hand side, and back to the front. And the front could change on this tree depending on how the structure develops. I'll put the Norway maple back on the bench and get out another tree for pruning. The next tree I'll be pruning up is my Chinese elm. It's not one of my favorite trees. I don't like the kind of S shape to the trunk. The root base is really poor on it. I've done some correcting work already. There'll be more to come on the tree. It's not my kind of style of tree. It's more a typical bonsai style. So today I don't want to prune it back, making it more compact, because I want it to thicken up. But I do want to do some branch selection. I don't want branches, if they're growing the wrong direction, thickening up and, energy of the tree growing into branches that I don't want. So I'm going to do some selective branch pruning today, but I won't be pruning the tree back to make it more compact. Okay, I'm taking a look at the tree, and the first thing I notice is there's a branch here that grows across the apex of the tree, and I don't want that to develop, so I'm pruning it off to an outward facing shoot to here, taking that branch out. There's another one growing straight up here I can remove. Then there's one at the back here that's crisscrossing the trunk line, so I'll remove that one also. So next I'm looking at this branch here. It's growing on the inside of a curve, so I'm going to remove it. I think last time I kept it, but I don't want that there. There's a branch here that's crossing the trunk line. It's not growing a good direction. So I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to prune it back short, trying to stimulate some buds or branches going a better direction. So I'll prune it back hard to here, like that. There's a new shoot here growing from the base of these two branches. I'll remove that. And it's coming straight out the front of the tree. There's a branch here growing on top of this branch, and it's facing backwards into the interior of the tree, so I'll remove that one. There's one here growing back across the tree. I'll remove that one also. Like that. So everything's fanning outwards on the tree. There's one growing from the inside of a curve here. I'll take that one out. Just a new little shoot. So I think from the front view, most of the branches are sorted. There is an eye poker branch here that I'll have to redirect. So I'll prune it off to a leaf that faces to the right hand side. So I'll take it off here. See what happens with that branch. There's a branch here that's crossing on top of this other branch. I'm going to prune it back short. Trying to redirect it more out the back of the tree. It's coming off of this kind of thicker branch here. Now I want to prune up this lower branch here too. There's a vertical shoot here. I can prune that off. Like that. There's a vertical one coming off of here. Rid of that. It doesn't flow. This branch divides into two here, and this one's growing across the other one. So I'm going to redirect this lower branch to grow more out the back. So I'll prune it back hard to here. And hopefully, it'll grow a better direction. Okay. There's a branch here that's growing back. It doesn't flow in the radial direction of the branch, so I'll prune it off to here. This one also, it comes off 90 degrees to the branch, so I'm going to redirect that one towards the more of a radial direction. There's a vertical branch here I can remove, and one here. I've got two branches running parallel here, so I need to redirect this one out in a more radial direction. This branch here is growing across another branch. I'm going to take it off, giving light to this branch. There's a couple of branches growing back in towards the center of the tree here. I'm going to remove. This one needs to go in a more radial direction, so I'll prune the tip off of it, redirecting it. I've got some confusion here. I have a branch growing over top of another branch, and I've got to pick which one I want to keep. And I think I'll be removing this upper one, I believe. Yeah. Opening that up a bit. And I think that's pretty well got it on the pruning. Again, I'm leaving it to grow long. I just did branch selection, not branch pruning. And I did some redirection of branches. So as it fills out again, it should have better branching, better directions to the branches. So that's it for the Chinese elm. I'll give you a rotation so you can see it from all angles. Here is the front of the tree, coming around to the right-hand side. The back of the tree, the left-hand side, and back to the front. So I'll put that back on the bench. The next tree I'm pruning up is my weeping willow. It's growing really well. I've got it sitting in a tray of water in the summer. In the winter, I take the tray of water away and I just kind of keep it well watered. But I think if it sits in a tray of water over the winter, it's just too much water for the tree. I think that's maybe why I've lost some of the willows in the past, is just too much water in the winter. So I found the willows don't respond well to winter pruning, that it's better to prune them when they're in leaf, try and keep some of the leaves on the branches, and they seem to do really well. I found if I winter prune it, which I did on this tree, I cut the top off and I sealed it, and my leader that was here died back, and you can see this branch died back also. So yeah, it'll be a restyling for the tree. So today I'm going to prune it up, making it more compact, do a little branch selection, and hopefully it'll grow well for the rest of the summer. I'm going to start by just pruning it back, sort of a profile prune. So here I go. Just kind of getting a rounded shape to the canopy. Cutting anywhere. Something like that. And now I can come in and do my branch selection. I'm going to prune up the structure of the tree now. So I've got a vertical shoot here coming off this branch. I can prune that away. I've got two branches coming from the base here. I'll prune one of them away. This branch divides from 1 to 3 here. I'll prune the interior one away, this back one, like that. So now it divides from 1 to 2. That's got this branch pruned up. I could prune this one back to an outward facing bud or branch. Same with this one. And I leave a bit for dieback. So that takes care of that branch. I could shorten this one a bit more maybe. Just take the tip off. There's a dead branch here. I can remove one here, one here. And the same on this branch. I've got a vertical one here I can remove. There's one growing to the interior of the tree here I'll take out. I've got two opposite branches here. This one doesn't really fan outwards, so I'm going to remove this one. Hoping this one grows. It's a little weak looking, but it has green leaves on it. There's one here crossing the apex of the tree. Take that out. There's one growing on the inside here, which, you know, I think my highest branch is this one, so I'll develop the leader of the tree from this branch. So I don't want one on the interior of this. I want it fanning out like a branch, not a trunk line. I'll prune it to an outward facing set of buds here. This one back to a bud that's facing outwards here. I can shorten this branch, and that one's good. That's the dead branches here I can take out. So this branch, it's my highest branch in the tree, so it'll be my, you know, the continuation of my trunk line. I've got two crisscrossing branches here. I'm going to take out the one that kind of goes a strange direction, like that. I'm going to leave these vertical ones because I do want to develop a branch structure, and these will be lower branches that fan outwards. There's a dead branch here. I kind of got a cluster of branches here, and I have a feeling this will thicken up here if I leave that many branches on the tree in that area. Maybe this one should come off and develop these. I think so. That one comes off. And then these are kind of opposite. They're staggered a bit, but I think because I have nothing out the back here and I have a branch here, I can take this one off. And I think that'll do for now. we'll see what happens to the tree over the summer. I can cut some of those weeds back. Yeah, we'll just see what happens with this willow. Hopefully, you know, it'll develop into a nice old mature tree. Has potential. I had a front marker here, and I think, you know, the new front will be probably about here. So I'll mark that as the front. Try to. There. Okay, so the front is marked somewhere around here. I think that'll look quite nice. Actually, maybe more like here. Yeah. That looks quite attractive if you imagine this part gone, these thickening up. I think it'll make a really nice willow eventually. So I'll put that back on the bench in its tray of water. The next tree I'm going to prune up is my wind-blown mountain Scots Pine. It's a very unusual style, but I'm going to continue with this wind-blown kind of style. So the candles on it have grown very, very long. I've got pollen cones on some of the candles. So today I'm going to prune the candles back, making them a little more compact. I am getting some back budding on the tree, which is nice. It shows it's nice and vigorous. So here I go with the pruning. Here's a look at the tree. A very unusual style with this branch coming out the front. It's not a typical bonsai style, but I like it. I think it's going to look quite, well, unique in the future is the word. Hopefully also it'll look nice. I don't know. So here's some of my back budding. I've got 2 little shoots back here, which is nice. I'm going to start, I think, by pinching back all the vigorous candles. And then I'll do some branch selection. So I'll start here, and I'm going to scissor prune. I come in between the needles, and I'll shorten it to here. Cutting the tip off. Back to here. Here. Now this one, you can see the pollen cones on it. I'll just prune it back. That one's too weak to do anything with. This one can be pruned. This one a bit off the tip. A bit off the tip of this one. The only reason I would leave, you know, this candle unpruned is if I wanted to extend the branch or thicken a branch up. I would leave it grow. But I think on this tree, you know, I just want to grow it kind of slowly and carefully, and I'm not in a hurry to thicken anything up too much. So these ones with the pollen cones, you can see there's no needles where the pollen cones are, and there's a cluster at the tip, so you can't really do much on those branches other than you could pinch out the very tip, which I'll do. Like that. And I've got one here. Now this one I think I do want to grow, sort of as a continuation of the trunk line, so I'll leave this one unpinched. I'll pinch the one behind it though, and this one. These ones. And I'm using some directional pruning. I'm pruning ahead of needles that are facing the direction I want the branch to grow, hoping there's a dormant bud at the base of those needles, and it kind of continues this windswept style. This one I'll just pinch the tip out. It's a weak candle. like that. This one could be pruned off. This one quite hard, it's a vertical one. Okay, that's got all the candles pruned back. So now I'm going to look at the structure of the tree and see if I need to do any branch pruning. I'm having a look at the branch structure, and I took a few stubs off, some past pruning stubs, and I'm not really seeing anything I can prune on it today. In the future, yes, as I said, when this shoot strengthens up, I can take the top off, this vertical part off here. Same with this branch. I've got a branch going to the left-hand side. I can eventually prune this upright growth off, keeping it all kind of wind-blown looking. But for now, I've got to let it strengthen up, get those shoots I want to grow, get them stronger, maybe a little more woody, and then I can do some more pruning on the tree. But for now, I think everything's going in the right direction. So I'll put it back on the bench and let it grow for the summer. It's time now for today's updates. I'm going to start today's updates with my jade forest that I recently scarred the trunk up. And I haven't watered it at all until today. And what I noticed is some of the leaves on the top here were shriveling up. Not on all the trees, like these ones look good and plump, the ones back here, but on the main tree, some of the leaves were getting a little wrinkly looking. So I gave it a good thorough watering. So I don't know if the wrinkled leaves are from the scarring of the trunk or if it's just from lack of water. So it's something I'll find out in the future, I'm sure. So I haven't noticed them plumping up or anything yet. So yeah, maybe I overdid the scarring on this tree, I don't know. All the other trees in the forest look good. So time will tell on this jade. The scars seem to be healing really well. They've turned gray. They're skinning over, so maybe it's just a temporary setback and maybe it'll recover and grow. I'm not sure. Time will tell on this one. The next update is my giant buckthorn bonsai. So I said I wasn't going to prune it this year. I was just going to let that root system recover after the repotting. But I've noticed some of the shoots on it are growing with a lot of vigor. They're shooting up into the other branches. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe, you know, by early summer I will need to prune this if it's just continues to grow really well. And maybe even my elm too, which was also repotted this spring. It's shooting up and getting very dense in the canopy here. So that also may need some pruning, even though it was just repotted this spring. The ash tree in the polyhouse here is also leafing out really well after its severe root pruning. Amazing how it recovered. Yeah, I took off a lot of roots on this tree. Here is my other willow I've been developing. And the tree didn't look so good in spring. I thought, oh, it looks weak. I thought it was going to die. And then it took off with all this beautiful dark green growth on it. You can see there's moss growing up the trunk here. It definitely needs some cleanup work, but I was surprised how it recovered and just took off in vigor. So it's also sitting in a tray of water down here. And I have another willow here, a smaller one that I'm developing also. That was also from Josh. The big one was from Josh, and this one. So we'll keep working away on the willows, hoping to get a successful willow bonsai someday. My wisteria here that I pruned back recently is starting to grow again. Lots of new branches coming off of it. So that will probably need another pruning sometime. When these branches grow long and extend out, I'll prune them back once again. I've heard that these wisterias need to be pruned like 2 or 3 times a year. Here is my lemon tree. This is my oldest lemon tree that was grown from a seed.
And you can see the new growth on it. It comes out this purple color. When it first comes out, it's kind of a bright red, and then it turns this purple color, and then it should turn green eventually, I guess. None of my other citrus trees do that. My other lemon tree, the new growth is green on it. And my orange tree comes out with green growth, and the grapefruit. So yeah, interesting. I don't know if that means it's a special variety of lemon tree. I'm not sure. Here is my Austrian pine. So the needles have extended on the candles now. They're quite short and compact at the moment, but they grow larger over the summer. The apex on the trees, they've come out quite nicely. They're not really vigorous yet, but I think it'll gain vigor as the summer goes on. It was just repotted this spring, so yeah, I think it's doing well so far anyway. My nightshade vine here, it is also growing now after its last pruning, and it's growing with a lot of vigor still, so that's good. Yeah, it's doing really well. My cascade lemon here, it's doing well. The cascade part is quite weak, the shoots on it, and up top it's quite strong, so I pinched all this upper growth back to kind of a pair of leaves, hoping, you know, this less vigorous part catches up. I won't prune this at all, but it's doing well. My bald cypress here is growing well. It's looking good, growing for the summer. It was nice to get those 3 trees pruned up. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.